I showed up to my husband's doctor appointment. My husband Jake had been acting really weird for the past 2 months. He'd leave for work early, come home late, and kept making excuses about why he couldn't help with our usual weekend stuff. Every Tuesday, he'd say he had to run errands after work and wouldn't be home until dinner. Last week, I found a doctor's appointment card in his jeans pocket while doing laundry. It was for Dr. Peterson at the medical center downtown, scheduled for this Tuesday at 2 p.m. When I asked Jake about it, he got all nervous and said it was just a routine checkup for his back pain. But here's the thing, Jake's never had back problems. And why would he hide a simple doctor visit from me? We've been married for 8 years and always went to appointments together when it was something serious. Tuesday morning, Jake left for work like normal, but I decided to take a long lunch break. I drove to the medical center and sat in the parking lot feeling like some crazy stalker wife. At 1:45, I saw Jake's car pull up. I watched him walk inside, and that's when I noticed the sign on the building. It wasn't a regular doctor's office, it was a fertility clinic. My heart started racing. We'd been trying to have kids for 3 years with no luck. I'd been to my doctor multiple times, and everything checked out fine on my end. Jake always said he was sure we'd get pregnant eventually, and that we didn't need to stress about it. I waited 10 minutes, then walked inside. The receptionist looked confused when I said I was there to meet my husband Jake for his appointment. She checked her computer and said he was actually meeting with Dr. Peterson, the male fertility specialist. I asked if I could wait in the room with him, and she said patients usually preferred privacy for these consultations, but she'd check. 5 minutes later, a nurse came out and led me down the hallway. I opened the door to find Jake sitting across from the doctor, looking completely shocked to see me. Dr. Peterson introduced himself and asked if I was Jake's wife. Jake just nodded, looking like he wanted to disappear into the floor. That's when Dr. Peterson explained that Jake had been coming in for tests for the past 6 weeks. He'd had blood work, genetic testing, and a full fertility evaluation done. The results showed that Jake had a condition that made it nearly impossible for us to conceive naturally. I stared at Jake and asked why he didn't tell me. He started crying right there in the doctor's office. He said he was ashamed and didn't want me to think he was broken. He'd been trying to figure out treatment options before telling me anything. Dr. Peterson explained that there were several treatments available, including procedures that could help us have kids. The success rates were actually pretty good, but Jake would need surgery first to correct the issue. I held Jake's hand and told him I wasn't mad about the condition. I was mad that he tried to handle it alone. I said we were supposed to be a team, and that meant facing problems together, not hiding them from each other. The doctor gave us a bunch of information packets and scheduled a follow-up appointment for both of us next week. Jake apologized about 50 times on the drive home and promised he'd never hide something like that again. 3 months later, Jake had the surgery. It was outpatient, and I was right there with him the whole time. The recovery took about 2 weeks, and then we started the treatment plan Dr. Peterson recommended. 6 months after that appointment, I crashed. I found out I was pregnant. Jake cried harder when he saw the positive test than he did that day in the doctor's office. Our daughter Emma is now 2 years old, and Jake tells everyone who'll listen that she's his miracle baby. He still feels guilty about keeping the secret, but I remind him that sometimes people need time to process scary news. The important thing is that we figured it out together, and now we have our little family that we'd been dreaming about for so long.